Season 5, Episode 4, Sons of a Pitch, Soccer Central. This episode, we're talking about some transfer rumors because, it's the offseason. We're also going to discuss the Canadian men's national team and how they've made us wait until today to get a roster. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers coming up on Thursday and the rest of this window as well. Nick from Wife Children House on YouTube, how the hell are you, sir?
Mike, I am great. Enjoying my beverage. If my little green screen tech here would work. Got my Buffalo Trace bourbon, ready to talk soccer. I know we're Canada focused today, but going with the American drink, going with the American tea. Got to represent it tonight. But I'm excited, man. There's been so much going on around the MLS as far as transfers, as far as just moves, as far as international stuff. So I can't wait to get into it, man.
Absolutely. We got a couple people hanging out with us here so far. Badass Kombucha, DSO, Ramon. How you guys doing? Thanks for jumping on, guys. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. And all right, let's get right into some of the transfer news and notes. But actually, before we get into that, MLS soccer's back. Preseason's underway, Nick. It's crazy. I can't believe that we're already into the preseason. It's hard to believe, but just one result that I wanted to discuss very quickly was New York is officially blue now, if it wasn't already after the MLS Cup win. So they won 3-1 over the Red Bulls in a friendly / preseason, warm-up where pretty much nobody played for the Red Bulls. Few players played for NYCFC, and as DSO says, they won by Hebert scoring 2 goals in that match as well. So good to see him back on the ball and getting back into the back of the net there. Any thoughts on preseason starting, Nick?
Well, I'm just pumped it's up, Mike. We've got the teams getting ready for CCL, and I was thinking about this New York game here. I'm like, it's preseason, it's Red Bulls, it's NYCFC, but the fact that Hebert scored 2. That bodes really well for New York City defending their cup, and getting ready for CCL. They've got some offense back, obviously with the rumors around Tati that are pretty much that he's going to be transferred. This is a good sign for them. So I hate taking a lot out of preseason games, but I will in this case. But yeah, man, it's so close. It's so close. Nothing better than CCL, nothing better than MLS. I'm pumped.
It's crazy. I can't believe it's so. I mean, it's right around the corner. I mean, we've got we've got these World Cup qualifiers coming up, and then as soon as that's done, in 2 weeks from then, the CCL starts up. So and then of course the regular season is literally a week after that. So it's coming around real quick, real fast. Really excited to get going. Lots of things to talk about in MLS and this window as well. Let's start talking about some of the transfer rumors and some of the things that are done, not quite done yet, and whatnot. First up, I want to talk about DeAndre Yedlin to Inter Miami. Apparently, this is done pending the physical, the medical. What are your thoughts on Yeti coming back to the U.S. in MLS?
Well, first of all, let me just say, I'm a fan of any MLS transfers and moves. So it's great that things are happening, and this window has been incredible for that. But I'm especially a fan of DeAndre Yedlin. I've always liked him. I've never been he's the greatest back in American history. I've never been that high on him, but I've always liked Yedlin. He always has a great work ethic. He's always got a motor, and you normally don't see him getting burned so bad that it costs his team a goal. He's been a stalwart in the EPL for Newcastle. That's when he really established himself as a top outside back. And I hated his move to Turkey, Mike. So I'm glad to see him coming back to the MLS. Glad to see him coming back to a team that is going to rely on him. This is not a move to, say, a Seattle or a New York or New England, where it's like, okay, we could maybe use you. Inter Miami needs him. They need the defense. And the fact that they already went out and signed Damian Lowe, the Jamaican international, I imagine Yedlin and Lowe are going to be starting as outside back, center back for Inter Miami once the season starts. Now, I don't know what the money is for Yedlin. Is he coming over on a DP deal, high-end TAM? Have you heard anything about that? And then if you want, I can go into a rant about why I'm glad he's leaving the Turkish Super League. But I'll let you make that call if you want to hear it. Yeah,
so a new Wiseman in the house. What's up, man? How are you? And he said that Hull City is also fighting for him.
I did hear that.
That from what I'm seeing though through Twitter, it's basically done. He flew into the U.S. I think yesterday to get that medical done. From what I'm hearing, it's going to be a high-end TAM signing, which is key for Inter Miami. I mean, they've got DPs all over the place. So, well, not really, but they used to. But look, I love Yedlin coming back to MLS. I think it's a great fit in Miami. They need players big time, and I'm excited to see Yedlin back in MLS and hopefully can help Inter Miami, because as much as I rag on them and as much as they've been a horrible team since they've come into the league, they do have a good fan base down there in South Florida and a good ownership group that even has tried to bend the rules a little bit to try and be better and whatnot. So hopefully it works out, and we'll see it get finalized here hopefully over the next few days.
Hey, two final thoughts on that. First of all, as my dad taught me growing up playing soccer, if you're not trying to cheat, you're not trying to win. So Miami's at least trying to win in that sense. And Hull City, they're a championship team over in England. They're sitting 19th in the table of 24 teams. So there's a very good chance that they could get relegated. They're sitting on 29 points, and the third worst team is at 19. So they seem to be safe, but I don't know why Yedlin would go to a bottom tier championship team when he can go play in Miami. My final thoughts on that one, Mike.
No, for sure. I agree. I wouldn't. I mean, not saying Inter Miami is the greatest place in the world with their recent track record, but overall, you wouldn't want to go there. So Jay Jardim in the house as well. What's up, Jay? How you doing, my man? Good to see you. And all right, couple Chicago Fire rumors and final actually done signings. First up, Kasper Šibilko goes from Philadelphia to the Chicago Fire. They've got a striker. Thoughts on Šibilko with the Fire? We know what Šibilko can do with the Union. How do you think he'll fare with the Chicago Fire?
So I'm going to be completely subjective here, totally my own personal bias. I don't like Kasper Šibilko, but he's a huge upgrade for the Chicago Fire roster. I mean, for me personally, I don't like him. There's just a way about his game that I'm not a fan of. And if you look at his MLS career, he's played 4 seasons with Philadelphia Union, 35 goals, 14 assists during the regular season. In 4 playoff games, no goals, no assists. So he's non-existent in the playoffs, at least on the stat sheet. And I really think he really struggles against these better defenses when he gets into the playoffs. So that's kind of my subjective, objective reasons I'm not a fan of him. But that being said, he's still an upgrade for a terrible Chicago Fire roster. And he is going to give you some consistent play at times. And for Philadelphia, who was scoring by committee, to be able to get, $1.15 million in general allocation money, I think that's great. And it's not like Chicago is going to be threatening Philly for playoff spots in the next year or two anyway. So I think it's a great move for both teams. Philly gets the money. Chicago gets a tried and true MLS player. I think it's a solid move both ways for it, Mike. What do you think?
I'm a little bit torn on it. I think there's a positive there because he has the MLS experience. So you're not bringing a guy in who doesn't have any experience in the league. Kasper Šibilko can score goals in MLS. We know that. Is he worth $1.1 million in GAM? I don't know. That's a bit interesting to me, that high of a number. I get it. It's a striker. You're going to be paying a decent amount of money, especially within the league like that. And DSO chimes in, says, Beric is a better striker, in my opinion. I would agree. I think Beric overall is better than Shabilko, but I don't expect much of a drop-off, right? Like, Beric's good for 10, 12 goals. I think Shabilko, same type of deal. Yeah, I think if you put the two of them, if I had a choice of the two, I would take Beric over Shabilko personally. But again, you're not going to see a huge drop-off there. You might even see an uptick. It depends. So we'll see what happens with that. I like the fact that the Fire are trying to get some MLS experience. Now the Fire just have to go out and get some big names, get some designated players who people know, who the sports fan can look up on Google and find a lot of information about. Somebody like, I don't even know how the hell to say this guy's name, but Sheridan Shaqiri.
That's pretty good. This is pretty good, Mike.
So,
Sheridan Shaqiri.
There you go. All right. So this guy, apparently Chicago Fire are working on Shaqiri. I watched a video, one of those, YouTube sensational highlight videos, right? And I was impressed. I remember watching this guy a while back, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, I think he's a decent player. I didn't think anything too crazy, but man, some of the stuff this guy was doing on those highlight reels, and take that with a grain of salt, because the highlight reels always look good, but that's why they call them highlight reels. But, does this fit the mold for you for Chicago Fire? I mean, I like the move for them if they are to get it done, for two reasons. One, it's a good marketing opportunity, right? So it doesn't, he's a Swiss national, so there's not a huge Swiss population in Chicago, but it's a move where that's somebody you can market. He's a big name. Soccer fans know him. The city of Chicago, there's a lot of people in the city of Chicago who watch soccer, and they will be damned if they're going to go to a Chicago Fire game, because they're not going to pay money to go watch a bunch of MLS scrubs being second to last place, right? So I think somebody like that is going to start bringing some people in. I like that. And obviously the guy's got talent, he's got skill, and would be a big-time designated player for the team. So I would love it. I think that would be a great signing for them. There are some others that I would prefer, but I think that would be a great signing. Nick, thoughts?
Oh, for sure. So again, if the Fire were to get Shaqiri, huge upgrade to their roster, first and foremost. Secondly, you're totally right with the marketability. And it's interesting that, there was a time when the Fire were really going for the young Latino, Hispanic type players, and they just couldn't figure out the coaching for it or the system for it. And then they've been kind of making that switch to more European style players, supplementing in until they get their homegrowns kind of worked up to the MLS level. So they've made that switch. These rumors and signings just kind of confirm that that's still the direction they're going. Not saying that they're totally ruling out kind of the South American talent, but it just seems that they're leaning a little more towards that European style. But you said marketability, even if they're not looking for kind of that cultural marketing, because Shaqiri is Swiss, but he's of Albanian descent, Kosovo Albanian descent, according to his Wikipedia page. But the marketability is the guy, you have to watch him because he's talented, and he can go off and do something completely ridiculous, like put his cleats into a guy's chest, 5 minutes into the game, or just bowl someone over. Or when he was playing, I think it was in the Euros, or maybe even in some World Cup qualifying last cycle, he and another Switzerland teammate who are from Kosovo, who are Albanian, were giving kind of like the bird signal from their flag, causing all this political uproar. FIFA was issuing sanctions because you can't do political stuff at FIFA games, blah, blah, blah. That's the marketability of Shaqiri to me. Like, he is a must-watch for what he could do with his soccer talent, as well as what he's going to do with his personality. Again, I'm not huge on him because he's disappeared for his clubs through long stretches. Like, Liverpool was really high on him, and over the course of 4 seasons, he only got 45 appearances for them. Lyon in France can use a guy like this to compete at the top of the table, but he's only gotten 10 appearances for Lyon. So he kind of disappears for his club, plays really well for his country. Definitely someone that will be fun to watch in Chicago if they get the deal done, Mike.
Yeah, and that really that gives me a lot of pause with hearing that, because everybody knows. I don't really follow much of the European soccer and whatnot. So, that's a scary thing, especially when you're talking about MLS and Chicago Fire. In MLS, you cannot have a designated player that's hurt or disappears on his team or isn't really that team player and really, goes for it, because that's a huge piece of the puzzle. So if that's something that, if that's something that is the case with him, if he's doing that with Liverpool, with Lyon, why the hell wouldn't he do the exact same thing with the Chicago Fire, right? So interesting tidbit of information there. All right, next one I want to talk about is a little bit of TFC talk.
Really? We're going to talk about TFC on the Sons of a Pitch? Seriously? How long did it take us to get there? 15 minutes? Never. Really?
So Marky Delgado gets traded to the LA Galaxy. It's official, $400,000 in GAM. And Greg Vanney is just building up 2017 TFC all over again. Like, I'm just waiting for him to save TFC from having to use their buyout on that Josie Altidore contract, because they're going to trade for him for like $1 million in GAM for Josie Altidore. I mean, what's next? I mean, it's not going to happen. I'm being a little facetious there. But,
well, I mean, Shabelko for over $1 million. Maybe someone could convince them Josie's worth $1 million still, because he's not going to get injured anymore.
Right. He's not going to get injured anymore. But Marky Delgado, I mean, that's a great piece. He's an underrated midfielder in MLS. I mean, you want to talk about solid play. I mean, this guy, look, he's not the biggest name on the pitch. He's not gonna write the headlines, but this is a guy who had tons of appearances, barely missed any games. He's always there. You can always count on him, and he does the dirty work. He's in that midfield. He's digging. He's hustling, and a great player. I think that that's a great pickup for the LA Galaxy in that midfield, because I mean they're playing Sasha Kljestan a lot. Kljestan's done. He's over the hill. It's time to retire Sasha Kljestan. Victor Vasquez, totally different player than Marky Delgado, obviously. But the Galaxy need the help in the midfield. And real quick before we jump to the conclusions there with that one, Tio Luis in the house. Go Fire! How you doing, Tio? Good to see you, my man. And DSO, shut up with Toronto already. DSO, you don't have to listen, brother. I'm sorry. So, look, Marky Delgado, great player. I think that valuation is pretty good. I mean, I for Toronto, from a Toronto perspective, I'd like to see a few more. Maybe 600,000 instead of 400,000. But overall, it's very clear what Bill Manning and Bob Bradley are trying to do there in Toronto, and that is get rid of everyone. If you played for Toronto in the past few years, unless your name is Pozuelo or Osorio, you're pretty much gone. So we'll see how this move works out for the Galaxy. Nick, the Galaxy, what are they gonna do? Jay says, are they gonna find a way to sign Seba? Do you think? It's just totally changing the subject here. But Sebastian Giovinco, what's
Insigne coming back to the MLS? Giovinco is just like, oh man, I really did have it good over there,
right?
But when those Saudi teams start flashing that cash, Mike, it's hard to say no to that, especially if you're Giovinco, when you know that the pinnacle of your career was TFC. He's not going to make the jump from Toronto to Chelsea or Man United or anything like that. So he had to go get his money. So I'm not going to fault him for that. And he was still playing at a very high level over in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. But now he's definitely thinking, oh man, if MLS was that wasn't such a bad deal. But as far as Vanney and Delgado and the Galaxy, I mean, Vanney knows Delgado. He knows what he's going to get out of him. And it looks like Vanney identified a need in that LA Galaxy team, this kind of attacking midfielder position, right? Isn't that where Delgado usually lines up?
He's more of a central mid. I mean, he can play defensive mid, but he's more of a center mid.
Okay. And because he's going to miss a sitter every now and then. We all know that, Mike. We all remember that game, right? Yes. I'm never going to forget it. I hear Marky Delgado, I think, missed sitters. But the fact is he's found the back of the net how many other times. He was a stalwart for TFC, and he's definitely got a role on this LA Galaxy team. This isn't a depth signing. This is a guy who can come in and start for Vanny and really pick up right where they left off last season. So I think it's a good signing for the Galaxy. I think it's a good signing for TFC because they can move some of this contract, they can move some of this money, and they can move on from the last kind of generation of Toronto players and expectations. So good all around. Yeah. But I'm in a positive mood tonight, Mike. Everything's great. I'm drinking bourbon. People are getting transferred all over the world. Everything's great here in Soccerland, right?
Hey, there you go, man. World Cup qualifiers starting in a couple of days. Speaking of those World Cup qualifiers, guys, just launched my Match Day 9 betting picks and predictions video for how I think the games are going to go on Thursday. So make sure you guys go check that out if you haven't done so already. And just hit the damn like button, please. Thank you. All right, so why the hell did that just switch to basketball? Because I'm running a bunch of streams on TSI right now. So my background just decides to switch over. But no, Sebastian Giovinco, he had it good in MLS. Went over to Saudi Arabia, you're right. Now he's basically come out and said, TFC, please sign me. I want to be with TFC. He lives in Toronto. That's where he wants to be. But, I mean, I don't see Toronto signing him. I think they would have done that already if they planned on doing it. I don't think he fits into the plans. Now you're hearing stuff about the Timbers. You know, is Portland Timbers going to sign Seba? Now we're hearing some stuff about the Galaxy. I don't know. I don't know where this guy's going. I know he still has talent in. I think he still has talent in the boots. I mean, he's got the play. Now the question is, what exactly is left? You're never going to see anything close to what he did with Toronto FC. It's not going to happen. He's had 3 years since then, but you still have a decent player. But I think the issue is Seba wants, high TAM money, possibly DP money, and that's not going to happen in MLS. Not today, not anymore. So we'll see if he ends up playing for somebody at some point this year. But I hope so. I'd love to see him come back to Toronto in a TAM spot. But I don't think it's going to happen. So, all right. So we've got Daniel Young in the house. What's up, man? He's got some questions there. We'll run through that maybe towards the end of the show if we've got time. If not, shoot me a DM there, Daniel, and we'll get to it. But
yeah, I got thoughts. I got thoughts on that.
Yeah. All right. We'll have to jump on that one towards the end of the show then. And there you go. I see you responded to him there. Perfect. So, all right. Let's talk next about Matt Turner to Arsenal. Is that going to happen? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
Well, like I said, I'm in a glass half full. I'm in a cocktail half full kind of mood here, Mike. So I like it. I think it's good for Matt Turner. He's obviously done everything he can at the MLS level, other than win trophies here at the MLS. But from an individual standpoint, he's excelled. He's outperformed anything you'd ever want. He ended up as the number one goalkeeper for the USMNT for long stretches of time. He even holds the record, I think, for most wins in a single calendar year for any USMNT player because he started Nations League and Gold Cup and qualifiers. He's got like 12 wins in 2021, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
So I don't mind him going over to Arsenal, challenging himself, especially because Arsenal just signed they extended their starting keeper. I forget the exact terms of that deal. So he will have to fight to get that number one spot, and that is going to push him even more. Also, we've seen that for national team consideration, Zach Steffen, who was not the starter for Man City, still got called up to camp, still is the number two, and even got some starts in some World Cup qualifying games over Turner. So it's not like Berhalter is going to hold it against him that he is the number two goalkeeper in a Premier League team. Then again, Berhalter has said inform counts, but I guess that's only for field players that he doesn't like. Anyway, we're going down the Berhalter rabbit hole. The only thing I don't like about Matt Turner going to Arsenal is that it's Arsenal, and I just don't like the Gunners. I'd love to see him in the Premier League, but I'll definitely say good on Turner. He's earned a real opportunity to play in the biggest league for one of the most storied clubs.
You know what? I don't like it. I hope it doesn't happen. I do not want to see it happen for the USMNT perspective. And just that. They need a guy. It's really the perfect setup. With Matt Turner playing for New England day in, day out. Zach Steffen, he's got the skills to be the number one, but he can be behind Matt Turner if, depending on form and whatnot, because Zach Steffen's not getting that many minutes at Man City. Now all of a sudden you put Turner at Arsenal, and he's sitting on the bench every week. Now you got a problem because you're Greg Berhalter and you're bringing Gaga Slonina. No, he's not going to start. Sean Johnson, if he's playing in the MLS season.
Slonina is like 2 qualifying cycles down the road. You're just getting that institutional memory with Slonina coming into camp. Yeah.
Right. So, Sean Johnson, these guys, no, we need somebody who's going to play all the time. So Matt Turner, I don't mind if he goes to Europe. That I have no problem with that. But go to a team where you're going to play every week. So if he's going to a Premier League team, have it be a middle of the table towards the bottom of the table team where he's going to play every single week. Then we'll talk. But I hate this move. I don't want to see it happen. I think it will totally screw the United States men's national team over. Now, personally, and on a personal level for Matt Turner, that would be a great move, and I'd be happy for him at that level. But for the team perspective, no, not at all. I can't stand it. I hope it doesn't happen, and we'll see. But,
so let's throw this out there now, Mike. So you've got Stefan on the bench for City, Turner on the bench for Arsenal, Sean Johnson playing week in and week out for like a top 3 New York City FC squad. Do you give Sean Johnson? Did I say Sean Turner? Sean Johnson? Do you give Sean Johnson a start because of his form? Like, is that even a possibility?
It depends on the game. I mean, if you're talking about a Nations League game against Costa Rica, maybe. If you're talking about a World Cup qualifier against Canada, no, absolutely not. Put Zach Stefan in. It depends on the game, but it just puts a big wrench in everything. So I'm dead set against it, man. Personally,
yeah, we're talking USMNT goalkeeping depth chart here. We have gone way down the rabbit hole.
With that being said, we're 26 minutes in. It's time to take the podcast sponsor break. So we'll be right back there. I'm going to put up the thumbnail for the live for this week. I'm still haven't decided 100% how I'm going to do these, but the voters have spoken. They want the USA El Salvador game up. So I'm going to put that one up here, and then we'll be back in just about 20, 30 seconds. And and then we'll talk. We got lots more to talk about with the Canadian men's national team, USMNT, and all that going forward. Be right back, everybody. All right, thanks, John. Appreciate that Chicago Fire update here and start to talk about the preseason. All right, let's talk about the lives that we'll be doing going forward here. So, again, just like you saw, United States, El Salvador, that one is for sure. May end up doing the Canada game as well, just simulcasting my same feed to both. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out all these crazy ways to capture views and ad revenue over here. But if not, then we've got the USA-Canada matchup coming up on Sunday at 2 o'clock. That one is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait for that game. Then as well on that day, we're going to be doing the Mexico-Costa Rica game. So a doubleheader on Sunday the 30th for World Cup qualifiers. Then on the February 2nd match day window, we're going to have the U.S. and Honduras, and as well El Salvador and Canada. So lots of big-time matches coming up over the next few days, live stream reactions. Make sure you're right here at Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central, and we're going to have a hell of a time with all these games. All right, let's get into the Canadian men's national team. I want to talk about this roster that just dropped and trying to put together a starting 11 for this team. There's news, they held the roster back really for Steven Eustáquio, the midfielder who just transferred over to Porto in Portugal. Really, really good player. He tested positive for COVID. Now he's on the roster. So is it he's asymptomatic? He's, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Is he going to be able to play in the next game? Is he not? But he's included in the roster. Same thing with Junior Hoylett. He had some injury issues going on as well. So he's going to be in the roster too. So, you know what? It's all good. We've got those players in. The biggest name that's missing, though, Alphonso Davies. He's gone. He's out. He's not playing, at least for the foreseeable future. We have no idea when he'll be back, but hopefully it will be soon. All right, so let's pull up the roster here, and the formation that I've got going for this one is here it is. Come on now. There we go. All right, so we've got basically it's the 5-2-2-1, but really kind of a 5-2-3-1, or if you want to call it a 5-4-1, maybe even a 3-4-3. You could play with the numbers all day long. We all know that's how you do numbers. I'm an accountant. I do that. So in goal, there's no question here. It's Milian Borjan, right? He's in goal. But now we're talking about the wingbacks, right? So, Nick, I know you're not the best Canadian men's national team, expert over here, but if you had to pick a replacement for Alphonso Davies, who do you pick?
I mean, can you pick a replacement for Alphonso Davies? Like, he does so much for Bayern and Canada. Like, if he's out of the game, you have to change essentially your entire style of play. He can run the entire left side of the pitch. You got to have guys. You're never going to find a like for like.
No,
for Alphonso Davies. So we just got to start that. And I got to tell you, as someone who's trying to prep for a Canadian roster build here, I had to go consult some of your resources that you sent me, and one of the old friends of the show, Alex Gagne-Ruzak, who is just a big journalist and writer for Canadian soccer, and he put out kind of a roster that I think is a good way to build off of it. So looking at kind of what he's put out, Mike, he has Adekugbe and Miller on the left side. And I don't know if Adekugbe is going to be playing like a wing back or if he would be playing more of a midfield wing. But those are the guys he's got on the left side, Mike. And I can't argue against it at this point. You got to have someone fill in for Davies. You got to have guys who have experience. Those guys fit both of those bills. They know the Canadian style. They know the team. So I think having both of those guys on the left-hand side, whether it be wing back and inside back or outside mid and left back, whatever combination, those guys are going to be doing a lot of overlaps if they want to keep that same style of play that Alphonso Davies had. So would you agree with my very, very surface level assessment of the Canadian left side there, or what do you think?
Yes, I would. I think Adekugbe fills in. Obviously, you can't replace Alphonso Davies. Nobody can. Doesn't matter when you've got he's the best wing back in the world. No question about it. It's not even close. He has cemented his spot there. You can't replace that. Now, for Canada, Adekugbe played very well, really well against Mexico the last few minutes when he had come into the game. He's getting better. He's playing better. I like Adekugbe there on the left as the wing back because he can get forward. He can still push the ball forward. He's not going to make any crazy darting runs, but he's got speed and he's got some talent to play that position. Then in the center, I do like Kamal Miller as well. I think for Kamal Miller, it will even show up in this. No, he won't. But Kamal Miller is what the hell? Come on, man! Pain in my ass.
What's going on over there, brother? You get the technical difficulties. I thought that was my job when I was on the show. I was the technical guy.
Exactly. Kamal Miller, I like him. He's playing well. Obviously he's out of season right now with Montreal, but he's played well since he's fit in to the back. So I like Miller there. Now in the other center back spots for the center of defense, I mean you only have two options there for Canada. You've got Steven Vittoria and you've got Daniil Henry. Daniil Henry makes me really friggin' nervous at the back, no matter what type of game he's playing, whether it's a league game or a Canadian game. It makes me nervous. I'm not a big Daniil Henry fan. So for me, it's Steven Vittoria here, and there's no doubt about that one. Now for the other side, you've got Richie Larea, you've got Alistair Johnston. You've got Derek Cornelius, could kind of slot if you want more of that center back piece rather than more of a wing back. I like for my thoughts, I actually like putting Derek Cornelius in and have Alistair Johnston off the bench or have him start on that right side as a wingback, and then bring in Larea in like the 55th, 60th minute as kind of that super sub. So what are your thoughts for the right side of the defense?
Similar to the left side, right? Like Canada needs their wingbacks getting up, and I think Richie Larea is a guy who can do that, and we've seen him do that before. But you got a 3-game window. I mean, everything we're talking about has the little asterisk of it's a 3-game window. Do you go for your points against El Salvador and Honduras? Do you go for your points against the United States? Where do you put your best 11? So I think Richie Larea might be one of the most dangerous options for Canada at kind of that right wing back position. But at the same time, are they going to have him starting against both of the weaker opponents or against the United States? That remains to be seen. Mike, you're the Canadian insider. You've got Canada press access now. What's John Herdman telling you?
Well, he's not giving anything away. John Herdman's been silent, man.
Right.
And I don't blame him with this window, especially when he's out of Alphonso Davies not in the lineup. He's keeping things close to the chest. So for me, I'm going to put Alistair Johnston and Larea in these two spots. Just because I think we're going to see I think we'll see both of them play that wingback spot at different times. And it's kind of a catch-22 because and speaking of Larea, number 22, but if you go with Richie Larea against say you save him just for the U.S., right? Because that's a tougher game. Well, you're still going on the road to Honduras. You're going on the road to El Salvador. There's no easy games in World Cup qualifying, especially on the road. When you're going to South America, you're going to San Pedro Sula there and all that. It's not an easy game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle this. And we'll talk about expectations as far as points in a little bit once we get done with the lineup here. But I'm going to fill these guys in. Let's talk about the midfield.
So let's I think the starting point for the midfield, Mike, let's just throw a bunch of names out here because I'm kind of stretching my Canada soccer knowledge here, right? So throwing out the midfield, Eustáquio, Hutchinson, Marc-Anthony Kaye, Osorio, Piette, Fraser. We also, Piette did when Canada beat the U.S. for the first time in 30-some years. He was just a bulldog in that midfield, but his form has kind of dropped off a little bit, and Alex Gagne-Ruzek has him as kind of the third option for one of those midfield positions. Could you even have Cavallini dropping off as a false 9? Could you have a Hallett dropping back a little bit? We all know Tejan Buchanan is going to be starting probably out on the right side there. So will he play more of a midfield? Will he play more of a winger, pinching in, attacking? I think that'll be it. Like just how they used him in New England, though, out on the wing, out on the wide touch line there, bombing down the wing, pulling the defense, stretching them out. So those are all the names there, Mike. I'd love to see from an MLS perspective, Marc-Anthony Kaye and Samuel Piette, but I don't know if those guys are in their best form right now. So I threw out a bunch of names, Mike. Why don't you go ahead and kind of fill in your roster and tell me your thoughts on that? Because Canada's got some depth here. They can go a number of different directions. And again, 3-game window.
Right. It's, that's the biggest rallying cry for Canadian soccer fans is this isn't your grandma's Canada soccer, right? I mean, this is a different story now with Canadian men's national.
And you saw that at the Sons of a Pitch shop, like a T-shirt. This ain't your grandma's Canada soccer. Like,
maybe I should. Maybe I should. But DSO, damn Canadians still scared of COVID.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they are, and they lost the ticket situation there, and 50% against the U.S. A complete and utter disgrace on the government of Canada for that one. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. We're not here to debate the politics of reduced capacities and all that kind of stuff. But look, on the one position we've got Atiba Hutchinson. He's going to be in the midfield. He's going to play. Will he play all 3 games? Probably not. He'll probably get subbed out a little bit. Atiba Hutchinson's getting up there, man. But in the other spot, you've got Eustáquio if he can play. If he can play, he's the starter, period. If he can't, then it kind of comes down to 2 players for me, Marc-Anthony Kaye or Jonathan Osorio. Because Atiba, I think he can kind of slot back and play in that defensive mid spot, bring in Samuel Piette as a substitute if necessary, if they're up in a game. So, I like I like Mark Anthony Kaye or Jonathan Osorio. Obviously, I'm a Toronto FC guy, so I'm going to go with Jonathan Osorio, right? No doubt about it. Even though Mark Anthony Kaye did come up in the Toronto system and then, went through Louisville City and LAFC and all that. But I like Jonathan Osorio and in that spot. So I'm going there. Now for the two kind of winger positions / forward positions. For me, Tajon Buchanan, no doubt about it. He's in the lineup as well. He just went over to Bruges. Do we expect him to, do a lot now that he just got settled over there and now he's coming right back in for a window? Are we expecting the same Tajon Buchanan? I don't know if we can. I think that does hurt a little bit. If he was still sitting in New England, it might be a little bit of a different story, but I don't think it's going to kill him too much. But I still like Tajon Buchanan there. And then you've got Jonathan David, no doubt about it, in that striker position. Then it just comes down to that left side winger there. I mean, you've got Kyle Larin, but I don't know if that's really a natural spot for him. You've got Liam Millar as well from FC Basel that could spot into there. Who do you put Larin in there and just kind of give him a free range and say, hey man, go after it? Or do you go with more of a fit to that actual position?
Let Kyle Larin run it. Karen, I was calling him Karen. Let Kyle Larin run it. Like just go for it. I mean, going back to my point at the beginning of the show in the first half there, like I don't like guys playing in Turkey. I just don't think it does anything for them. It's lateral moves at best. And Kyle Larin, I think, is the example, one of the other examples of that. But when he puts on the red and white for Canada, something happens. So I say give him free reign to do what he needs to do on the left side of that lineup there, and just say, when you're in, you look to shoot, you look to score, and that's his job. And everyone else around him should know that that's his job. So you know what? That way they can cover defensively, that they can feed him, that they can work off of him and play how they need to play. But yeah, let Larin run it. Let him do what he needs to, man. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's form is absolutely insane. I mean, he's scoring goals like crazy for country. He's scoring goals for like crazy for Besiktas. You got to get him into the lineup. Obviously, Jonathan David's the number one. He's going to be that main striker, that target man up front, because he's not long for Lille. He's moving on to a bigger and better club pretty soon. So we'll see what happens there with Larin. I say you got to put him in the lineup and let him run, let him have at it. But overall, looking at that lineup before we got so Connor, my man, if you're still in the chat, dude, jump into the StreamYard link I sent you, man, so we can talk about the USMNT window here for the last 15 minutes or so. But look, this Canadian team, a lot of talk by USMNT fans, Mexican fans. Oh, well, they're out there without Davies. Canada's kind of screwed without Davies and even without Eustaquio. It's a different team now. I mean, this is a strong team. Obviously, there's some work to be done at the back, right? Kamal Miller, Stephen Vittoria, Alistair Johnston at the back. That's not great. Let's be serious. If I'm starting those three in the lineup there against a Mexico or United States, I'm a little nervous going into that game. But the amount of talent that's out there, I mean, Kyle Larin, the form that he's in, Jonathan David, Tajon Buchanan, Atiba Hutchinson, I mean, this team is stacked. They've got a lot of talent. Expectations for Canada in this window, these 3 games, 2 tough road games and a home game against the U.S. Right. Nick, as a United States fan, diehard fan, I'm both. I love Canada and the U.S., and I'm more so on Canada. I will say I'll give Canada the number 1 in my heart over the U.S. as a close second in soccer. But sure, what do you say for those 3 games? What's a realistic expectation, and what do you think they'll get?
Well, a realistic expectation, Canada can't come out of this window with less than 6 points. If they come out with 9, obviously you can't do any better than that. If they come out with 7, no one's happy. Or I should say everyone's going to be happy. Like, no one's going to be unhappy. That's where I was going with that. That's the bourbon making my tongue a little numb there. So Canada, again, anything 6 to 9 points, I think is a great result for Canada. And I'm gonna put a qualifier on that because it's qualifying, right? We're gonna put a qualifier on that. If somehow Mexico ends up picking up 9 points, that's going to be huge if Canada only comes away with 6. If they, let's say the most likely scenario would be they lose to the United States and then beat Honduras and El Salvador, I think are their 2 opponents. I think, because aren't Canada and the United States, don't they have the exact same schedule this window, or not the schedule, but the same 3 teams, right? Honduras, El Salvador, and then each other.
Right. Yep.
So
exactly.
You look at Greg Berhalter's philosophy of, hey, the U.S. is in second. We maintain our points per game. We come out of this window sitting in second, maybe first, probably not third, unless Mexico, again, goes and has a 9-point window. We were talking about it in the chat there, man. Jamaica is ready, and I hope Jamaica can upset Mexico.
Hope so.
So I think Canada has a similar kind of mindset. Let's get our 6 against the lesser opposition, and if we walk away with a draw from the U.S., no problem. But if they drop points in their first game, they know that they can go at the United States in that second game and maybe come away with 3 points. Similar for the United States, like just exact same arguments, Mike. That's how I'm looking at it.
All right, for me, I'm going to say things are going to be a little bit different here for me. And this is I'm going to go out here and I'm not super excited about this window. I'm really not. Just because the 2 games on the road are really, really hard. If you're playing Honduras and El Salvador in Canada, I think I think it's fine. But the fact that they got to go on the road, I'm saying 5 points out of this window for Canada. I think they get a win and 2 draws in these games. And, they've been playing like crazy where they do not lose. They have not lost yet, knock on wood, in this Ocho, Octo, whatever the hell you want to call it. And, I think they stay unbeaten, but I think they only get 5 points out of this. I would say that they either get, and I don't know exactly how they're going to get those points. I put out my picks and predictions that I think that they'll draw with Honduras in Honduras. Will they beat the U.S. and then draw at El Salvador? Will they beat El Salvador and get the draw with the U.S.? I don't know. But overall, 5 points. And still, I don't see, even if Canada comes out with 3 points in this window, it's not the end of the world for Canada. It's not the end of the world at all. They're still in a very good spot to qualify in those 3 points, or in those top 3 spots. So, because I think Panama's got to come crashing down to a realization here at some point. But before we we'll talk more about this window here. Let's bring in Connor. Connor McCabe, welcome to the stream, my man. How the hell are you?
I'm good. How are you fellas?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Doing great, Connor, man. Good to see you. Love the jersey, the new thread.
Thank
Very
you.
nice,
Brand
man.
new. Came about a week ago. So, yeah.
Nice. And
Connor,
Connor,
you're on the back, or is it blank?
What? Oh, no, it's blank. I
Okay.
didn't feel like spending the extra however much it was.
Right. I hear you there. And Connor, you're going to you're going to the game, right?
Yep. This will be my second qualifying game.
Nice.
I believe the first one was against Costa Rica back in October.
Nice.
It wasn't as cold then as it will be Thursday, but still fun time.
No, absolutely. I'm jealous, man.
So what do you do? How do you prepare? Like, how are you preparing for this game, this qualifier? Like, do you have rituals the morning of? Are you superstitious? Because I know for me, when I watch these games, I'm just like, if it's afternoon, give me a drink. If it's before noon, give me half a drink. Like, that's kind of my thing.
I don't, I go into these games with a hope, especially with games that we should win, like El Salvador. Thursday, it's at home. It's in Columbus. Columbus is notorious for U.S. soccer. The majority of fans you see in Columbus are all United States supporters. And on the far side, so like the from where I would be looking, the north end of Lower.com Field, that's the Nordicek. Last game, American Outlaws took it over. There's about 1,000. The whole section is about 1,000 standing room, and the Outlaws took it over, and they were surprisingly loud in the Costa Rica game. So
yeah,
Outlaws took it over.
I'm expecting it to be loud there. I mean, because you got to get loud when it's that damn cold. You got to be screaming and yelling to keep yourself warm. So I'm excited, man. I think this game against El Salvador, I talked about in my picks and predictions. I think this is going to be a blowout, man. El Salvador, I think they've overperformed so far in this World Cup qualifying window, and the United States, they're going to come out strong at home, knowing that they're not in first place. I'm expecting a big time win, and I even went out and I'll give away one of my All-Star members' picks for my prop bet picks for that game. I say Jossie scores in this game. Zardes gets a goal at home in Columbus. He's going to see some minutes towards the end of the game. It's going to be like 4-0 US. Connor, tell me, what are your thoughts about this match coming up?
Honestly, it's El Salvador. I'm not worried about it. I knew we drew with them. I think it was El Salvador where we drew with them down in El Salvador. That 0-0 draw to open up qualifying, and that disappointed a lot of people, and that would really started this whole, Greg Berhalter's head on a platter that we see almost every draw or loss that the United States have. It's like everybody turns on him when something is not going wrong. But El Salvador, the last weather forecast I saw, it's going to be like cloudy with 25 degrees and cloudy, with a small chance of snow and like 15-mile-an-hour winds. So it's not going to be pretty. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty if you're playing coming up here from where it's 75 to 80 degrees year round.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's El Salvador right there. They're used to that nice weather, and you saw the same thing with Canada last window when they brought Costa Rica to Edmonton and Mexico to Edmonton. You got these guys out there, and they're like, whoa, and it made a difference in those games. I expect this to make a difference as well, but there's a lot of the U.S. players that aren't quite used to that, not like the Canadians are. We go lay down on ice for fun, but I think this El Salvador game, I think the U.S. gets off on a great start, but overall window for the U.S., you got obviously 3 points against El Salvador. We'll say if anything less than that, it's going to be all hell will break loose on USMNT Twitter against Canada, and then you've got Honduras as well. What are your thoughts, Nick? I want to jump to you first, man. What do you think as far as the results for this? Are you going the full 9 here, or are you being a little bit more down to earth?
No, I'm following Greg Berhalter on this one, Mike. Let's keep pace. Let's keep our points per game. If we come out of it with 7 points, again, 3 versus Honduras, 3 versus El Salvador, take the draw at worst against Canada, then we're coming out no worse, hopefully, than second in the standings where we are right now. And that's the goal, qualify. Like, I think a lot of fans, and Connor, let me know how you feel about this and how you feel about Berhalter's mentality, because that's all the chatter, right? Like, I think a lot of fans are like, we need to be the best team in CONCACAF, win every game 5-0. Otherwise, Berhalter sucks. No. Win the games against the terrible teams. Take the points, especially on the road in Canada. Take the points, take a draw, and then qualify. That's what I'm looking for. I think that's the right mentality for the United States. You want to say, like, let's have a little bit of that edge revenge game against El Salvador and smash them 4-0. I'd be okay with that. But let's not forget the bigger picture here. Let's qualify. That's my thoughts.
All right, Connor, what do you got here? In this window, are you going full 9?
I want to go full 9, but the game worried me before the Alphonso Davies news, and it still worries me even though he's going to be out for an extended period of time, because Canada is one of those teams. As we all know, they're sitting at top of the table right now, and they're a team that you do not want to sleep on. I mean, we saw it. I want to say it was September with the 1-1 draw in Nashville, where we went up 1-0, thanks to Brandon Anderson, and then I believe it was John Brooks who didn't mark his man, and then allowed the Canadian goal. I believe it was Kyle Larin that scored that Canadian goal.
Yep.
And that's how we got the 1-1 draw. Realistically, for this Canada game, it's in Hamilton. Even with 50% capacity, it's going to be a tough place to play. I see a point getting out of this game, like maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw. in the Canada game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that game's going to be real interesting because, again, it's very similar to Commonwealth Stadium there in Edmonton. And I don't know if you guys watched the full game there for for Canada versus Mexico in Edmonton. That ball was bouncing like it was on concrete. It felt like these guys were saying when they hit the ground, it was like concrete. These fields, they're CFL fields, man. This is turf, and this isn't like your nice NFL turf. This is like old dimensions, 1990s AstroTurf type shit, right? This is bad stuff. So I expect this to be a very ugly game, and I think it's just going to come down to the bounces. Can the United States, and this is where I think it favors Canada, so that I think Canada might even get the full 3 against the United States, is because United States is a completely different team when they're playing against Mexico. You all know that.
Yeah.
When they're playing Honduras, when they're playing Canada, which even though they're not going to be sleeping on Canada, nobody's sleeping on Canada anymore. Maybe they peaked a little too early in the qualifying schedule that way. But look, this team, I mean, they're going to play this game, and it's going to be really ugly. And these kids, these USA kids, I mean, you remember Alexi Lala saying the guys that didn't qualify in 2017 is because they were whining about the flooding. They were whining about the stadium. This wasn't good enough. Now you got all these kids that are coming over from Juventus and, you know, all these nice training grounds and all this stuff. And then they got to go play. And, you know, they're saying it's probably going to be around I think it was like 8 to 12 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's just going to be.
That was my morning commute today, Mike. That was my morning commute. They'll be fine.
You don't play for the USMNT, buddy. Okay.
But that's the thing. If you're going back to what Lala said about the 2018 disaster, he's like, those are a bunch of whiny, tattooed millionaire babies.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, you know, Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, like anyone who's from blue collar Pennsylvania, like they're as great as those guys are. They weren't coddled in Project 40. Or Generation Adidas to a certain degree. Like these guys, it's the U.S. work ethic. I don't think we have to worry about that as much. Yeah, it's going to be an adjustment, but I don't think we have to worry about it as much. Well, what I'm worried about is Canada's midfield. If they come out with one of these weird formations, and Connor, I want to know what you think about what kind of formation the U.S. is going to roll out against Canada. If Canada comes out with like a 3-5-1 and just stacks the midfield, I don't know how the U.S. is going to maintain much possession. What do you think, Connor?
I think the ideal formation for us, and this is basic, I think a 4-3-3 is the ideal formation for us. And you want that MMA midfield to hopefully start every game. You want McKinney, Musa, and Adams in that midfield. I don't know if you guys saw in the Mexico game, but those 3 were the key parts to beating Mexico in the midfield. And they dominated ball possession. You dominate ball possession, you beat teams. It's simple soccer. That's my thinking anyway.
Win the midfield, win games. I'm with you.
We'll see.
Mike?
We'll see. I mean, I still fall towards that. You know, this U.S. generation. It's gonna be tough for them to go into that stadium there in Hamilton. And again, I mean, have you guys ever been to Hamilton? No, you have.
I've never been to Canada.
Okay, exactly. I've been to Hamilton. Okay, it's, to put it nicely, it's pretty much a shithole. You know, it's not nice. It's not a nice place to be. Okay, these guys, honestly, they might actually stay in Toronto and drive to Hamilton just because it's so bad in Hamilton. It's going to be it's going to be totally different out there for these guys. So I can't wait for this game, man. I'm so excited for this matchup. It's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a good game. I think both the United States and Canada are both sitting pretty, ready to qualify. I think I think both teams definitely get in those top 3 spots. I think Mexico finishes in that top 3 as well, in no certain order either, because I think a lot of USMNT fans as well as Canadian fans are like, oh, Mexico's done. They're gone. They're over. No. They're not even close to over. All right. Maybe in 4 years, maybe. And there you go. There's Jay. Lock your car doors in Hamilton, man. It's a different world up there, Jay. You know, brother. You know. So, all right. So that pretty much does it for this. We've hit the hour mark, guys. Any final thoughts? Connor, please tell everybody where they can find you, what kind of stuff you're doing on the channel, man, and let's get it out there.
All right. You can find me. Where is it? down here.
There you go.
That's my
Twitter,
podcasting
right?
Twitter. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my podcasting Twitter. You can follow me at Connor Knows Stuff. It's pop culture and soccer on YouTube. You just search up my name, KONORMCCABE. There I do Barcelona stuff, and then USMNT stuff, and then with the MLS season coming up, I will be doing some crew stuff. So be on the lookout for that.
Nice. Good stuff, man. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I don't have any unless you folks have some.
Nick, what do you got, man?
Like we said at the top of the show, man, MLS preseason is here. Teams are in training camp. Like, there's so much that's been going on this offseason with transfers and rumors, and now we're going into an international window. Like, I'm kind of like soccer school kid giddy right here, and I'm excited to be following it along with you at SOP Soccer Central. Just followed Connor on his Twitter, and looking forward to hearing his takes. Make sure everyone out there who's listening, watching, jump on Twitter, find me at WifeKidsHouse, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, wife.children.house, because that's pretty much my life. My wife, my children, my house, and a few soccer games here and there. So we're coming at you with different takes and things, and happy to join the conversation, the greater soccer community that's out there that continues to grow as we meet new guys like Connor, and as we hang with old friends like Mike. Dude, I love it. I love it. This is the best part of my week, talking soccer.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right. I put the links out for both Connor and Nick's YouTube channels. Guys, go hit that subscribe button. It's also in the description. I know yours is, Nick. I'll add it. I'll add Connor's to the description here as soon as we're done. Guys, we've got some awesome soccer coming up. It's gonna be a lot of fun here. Lots of big time games. Again, we'll be live on Thursday. United States men's national team, El Salvador. Connor will be in the building, freezing his ass off, but he's gonna be there having fun. And we're going to have the Canada-United States game as well on Sunday. Mexico, Costa Rica, USA, Honduras, El Salvador, Canada. And then as soon as that's done, we've got CCL starting up. So, guys, lots of stuff to talk about here moving forward. The offseason, the doldrums are almost done. I want to thank you, Nick and Connor, for coming on, guys. Much appreciated. And look, guys, we'll see you guys real soon. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your night. Really?